Judges, chapter 6. And the sons of Israel do evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh gives them into the hand of Midian for 7 years. And the hand of Midian is strong against Israel. So the sons of Israel have made for themselves the nooks which are in the mountains, and the caves, and the strongholds, to hide from the presence of Midian. And it has been, if Israel has sowed, that Midian has come up, and Amalek and the sons of the east, indeed, they have come up against him, and encamp against them, and destroyed the increase of the land until your entering Gaza. And they leave no sustenance in Israel, either sheep, or ox, or donkey. For they and their livestock come up with their tents, for they come in as the fullness of the locust for multitude, and of them and of their livestock there is no number, and they come into the land to destroy it. And Israel is very weak from the presence of Midian, and the sons of Israel cry to Yahweh. And it comes to pass, when the sons of Israel have cried to Yahweh concerning Midian, that Yahweh sends a man, a prophet, to the sons of Israel, and he says to them, Thus said Yahweh, God of Israel, I have brought you up out of Egypt, and I bring you out from a house of servants, and I deliver you out of the hands of the Egyptians, and out of the hands of all your oppressors, and I cast them out from your presence, and I give their land to you. And I say to you, I am your God Yahweh, and you do not fear the gods of the Amorite in whose land you are dwelling. And you have not listened to my voice. And the messenger of Yahweh comes and sits under the oak which is in Ophrah, which is to Joash the Abi-Ezrite. And his son Gideon is beating out wheat in the winepress, to remove it from the presence of the Midianites. And the messenger of Yahweh appears to him and says to him, Yahweh is with you, O mighty man of valor. And Gideon says to him, O my Lord, if Yahweh is indeed with us, then why has all this found us? And where are all his wonders which our fathers recounted to us, saying, Has Yahweh not brought us up out of Egypt? And now Yahweh has left us, and gives us into the hand of Midian. And Yahweh turns to him and says, Go in this your power, and you have saved Israel out of the hand of Midian. Have I not sent you? And he says to him, O my Lord, with what do I save Israel? Behold, my chief is weak in Manasseh, and I am the least in the house of my father. And Yahweh says to him, Because I am with you, you have struck the Midianites as one man. And he says to him, Now if I have found grace in your eyes, then you have done a sign for me that you are speaking with me. Please do not move from here until my coming to you, and I have brought out my present and put it before you. And he says, I abide until your return. And Gideon has gone in and prepares a kid of the goats and an ephah of flour worth of unleavened things. He has put the flesh in a basket, and he has put the broth in a pot, and he brings them out to him to the place of the oak, and brings them near. And the messenger of God says to him, Take the flesh and the unleavened things, and place them on this rock, and pour out the broth. And he does so. And the messenger of Yahweh puts forth the end of his staff which is in his hand, and comes against the flesh and against the unleavened things. And the fire goes up out of the rock, and consumes the flesh and the unleavened things. And the messenger of Yahweh has gone from his eyes. And Gideon sees that he is the messenger of Yahweh, and Gideon says, Ah, Lord Yahweh, for so I have looked on the messenger of Yahweh face to face. And Yahweh says to him, Peace to you, do not fear, you do not die. And Gideon builds an altar to Yahweh there, and calls it YHWH-Shalom. It is yet an Ophrah of the Abi-Ezrites to this day. And it comes to pass on that night that Yahweh says to him, Take the young ox which your father has, and the second bullock of 7 years. And you have thrown down the altar of Baal which your father has, and cut down the Asherah which is by it. And you have built an altar to your God Yahweh on the top of this stronghold, by the arrangement, and have taken the second bullock, and caused a burnt offering to ascend with the wood of the Asherah which you cut down. And Gideon takes 10 men of his servants, and does as Yahweh has spoken to him. And it comes to pass, because he has been afraid of the house of his father and the men of the city, to do it by day, that he does it by night. And the men of the city rise early in the morning, and behold, the altar of Baal has been broken down, and the Asherah which is by it has been cut down, and the second bullock has been offered on the altar which is built. And they say one to another, Who has done this thing? And they inquire and seek, and they say, Gideon, son of Joash, has done this thing. And the men of the city say to Joash, Bring out your son, and he dies, because he has broken down the altar of Baal, and because he has cut down the Asherah which is by it. And Joash says to all who have stood against him, Do you plead for Baal? Do you save him? He who pleads for him is put to death during the morning. If he is a god, he pleads against him himself, because he has broken down his altar. And he calls him on that day Jerubbaal, saying, The Baal pleads against him, because he has broken down his altar. And all Midian and Amalek and the sons of the east have been gathered together and pass over, and encamp in the valley of Jezreel. And the Spirit of Yahweh has clothed Gideon, and he blows with a horn, and Abi-Ezer is called after him. And he has sent messengers into all Manasseh, and it is also called after him. And he has sent messengers into Asher, and into Zebulun, and into Naphtali, and they come up to meet them. And Gideon says to God, If you are Savior of Israel by my hand, as you have spoken, behold, I am placing the fleece of wool in the threshing floor. If dew is only on the fleece, and dryness on all the earth, then I have known that you save Israel by my hand, as you have spoken. And it is so, and he rises early on the next day, and presses the fleece, and wrings dew out of the fleece, the fullness of the bowl of waters. And Gideon says to God, Do not let your anger burn against me, and I only speak this time. Please, let me try only this time with the fleece. Please, let there be only dryness on the fleece, and let there be dew on all the earth. And God does so on that night, and there is only dryness on the fleece, and there has been dew on all the earth.